Liverpool fan in Japan.
Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki man Sai, and as you noticed, I am in Studio 2 right now, my RPG gaming studio, but we have set up with a new Shure mic. Let me know how the sound sounds. Alrighty, so we've heard that Manchester City are fighting the legal battle with the Premier League, and every single claim from their side got thrown out the window except from two. Now the Premier League need to change their ruling on this, but overall it looked like a dramatic defeat from what Man City tried to achieve. However, bear in mind that those two do have a significant impact because apparently the investment from Manchester City's owners, right, the loans to the club, I don't know whether it's interest free or not, were not counted in the financial fair play eligibility. Now this might have a bearing on the 115 charges on the other case as well, but it's very, very fascinating that the Premier League are standing on the ground that they've won against Manchester City's endless money bags of lawyers, whereas Manchester City are also claiming a victory, and Sky Sports changed the narrative from Manchester City has won the legal battle against the Premier League into Manchester City think or assume that they have won the battle. Now, if you can include loans into the calculations, then that's going to be a little bit iffy, isn't it? Because then the owners can balance the books in any ways that they want. Like Todd Bowley, for example, sold the hotels to use that revenue against the books of Chelsea. He's going down the route of buying the Wonder Kids to flip them off for a profit, because if they're homegrown and grown through the system as well, you get instant credit to your accounts for that season, whereas the long-term contracts are amortized over the 5 years as well. But it looks as though that the loan finance revenue that comes in from your owners doesn't count towards financial fair play. So if you're in a good financial situation, such as Liverpool, for example, if FSG and John W. Henry wanted to loan the money to Liverpool, right, they can do it, and Liverpool can use that finance to do what they want with it, whether it's purchasing Dominic Szoboszlai's release clause, 50 million straight up, or for growing infrastructure, for example. But you cannot use the loan money, apparently, towards financial fair play, because you can't just instantly generate revenue off the back of nothing, some hoodwinks, some hinky-dink scheme to get around financial fair play, for example. So I think it's a minor win for Manchester City just to get the rules changed, but I don't think it has any bearing or effect on their outlook for the other court case. And even though it changes the wording and rules, at least hopefully it closes any loophole that any Premier League team might use to exploit, especially because Liverpool are in a good financial position, so we'll never really suffer and get penalised from having to use a loan from FSG for financial fair play. So we won't get penalised in that regard as well. And that's really key, the fact that FSG have been running Liverpool responsibly, so we're not in any debts and we don't need to pull any levers a la Barcelona and mortgage your future for the sake of the now with players and transfer, for example. And we can splash out the cash for a player if Arne Slot the shiny one wants a particular player. If Richard Hughes deems it viable, he'll sign for the checkbook. It might get escalated to Michael Edwards to give the overall yes, for example. But I think FSG are now out of the picture. It's going to be a well-run machine with the people in the know. Edwards, Hughes, Ward, and Arne Slot. Even though Arne Slot may not have the biggest say in transfers, he's definitely going to sign it off to say that guy will fit in my system, or he won't fit in my system, or I'd rather you not go with that guy. That kind of thing, right? So it'll be very interesting to see where the finances are spent in January and in the summer, because Arne Slot finally has a chance to assess the squad and how they do in a real pressured situation, in a real game situation, for example. And that's going to be really, really fun to see. Now, someone asked me in the comments below about Lassana Diarra's court case as well. You know me, this is a channel with substance and abundance.
The cream of the crop!
The cream of the crop! And I'll try and help you out. So basically, Lassana Diarra went against his club for unfair dismissal of his contract. Now, when he's released by unfair dismissal, apparently European law stops him from signing for another club who agreed a transfer with him, but ultimately couldn't complete it because the paperwork would not be signed off because of previous dealings with the previous clubs. But because he was released from the club for unfair dismissal, it's actually against European trade laws to prevent him from working, for finding a job, for getting an income, because he got dismissed through no fault of his own. Now, it might have been through his fault, but he's counterclaiming against the club that released him for unfair dismissal. So if it was unfair dismissal, then ultimately the European laws can't prevent him from signing for that additional club, and they did prevent him, so therefore he can chase for lost wages. But this is a very niche situation, because in order for this process to work, he has to win his case against unfair dismissal, and because he was unfairly dismissed, right, that means he was double penalized, double jeopardy perhaps. That might be one way of looking at it. And the European authorization should have come through to allow him to gain employment. So that's where it's at. So I don't think that particular court case has a bearing unless it's a very niche case in the future as well. But hopefully that explains that one as well. Now, what I want to talk about now is international fixtures. Now, everyone's like, oh no, international fixtures. I hope Mac Allister doesn't play too much. I hope he doesn't get injured as well. It's a waste of time. Why are there so many international breaks? October, November, that kind of thing, right? September even. And then all the competitions and the Club World Cup, additional fixtures as well. But some players are really motivated to play for the national team. You look at Michael Owen, you look at Harry Kane, for example. The Spain team come together. They celebrate the Basques, the Catalans, the Spanish, all come together to play under the one banner to show their tiki-taki football as well. And I think it's a necessary evil because sometimes you may not be able to get a Darwin Nunez or Alexis Mac Allister unless they know that at certain points, certain times in the year when international fixtures come about, they can go back home, they can see their family, they can see their friends, they can drink the top-notch mate, for example. They can hang out and speak their language. It's a mental relief, a mental burden off their shoulders. The pressures of the day in, day out, especially with Darwin Nunez, for example, going back to his home country, playing under Bielsa, who's getting the most out of him, trusts him. He is leading the charge for Uruguay at the moment, him and Valverde, a good connection there. Suarez and Cavani, obviously of the old generation, passing on to Darwin Nunez as well. We need a fit and firing Darwin Nunez. He needs to get minutes. He needs to get confidence in his boots as well. Coach and a fantastic coach in Bielsa who bring fantastic things to his game as well. And Arne Slot can see on his performance when you bring a 10 closer to Darwin Nunez and release him to play, great things happen. For example, I'm sure Ugarte is actually loving the fact that he can play for Uruguay, for example, and doesn't have to go back to that mid-table mediocrity in Manchester United. He couldn't even play last weekend. He was benched. Yeah, I digress just a little bit, but that was good fun, that watch long. International fixtures are necessary evil because think of this, right? Gareth Southgate and the coaches only have such a limited time to train these players, to work the attacking patterns of play, which is why you find international football quite slow and defensive, because in that limited time set, the main thing you need to do is have a solid defense, have a solid shape, have a solid basis, and then you work on the transitions and attacking formations and the attacking kind of impetus as well. Because you have such a limited time, if you don't give them those international friendlies, the managers will never know if the player can suit their system, if they build up the chemistry with, players from rival clubs, for example, to build those patterns of play, which would make the Euros and the World Cup even more boring than they already are. Because if you can't build those patterns of play in that attacking verve and threat and chemistry, then they're not going to attack. They're just going to sit back and counter-attack. And nobody wants to watch two teams giving each other the ball like Atletico Madrid and Man United, for example, right? So for the mental health and well-being and the fact that you can sign the Africans, you can sign the South Americans, because they know that they'll have an opportunity to go back home, see their friends, represent their country with pride, wear the badge on the chest as well as the liver bird. It's a necessary evil. Not just for fitness and form, but for their mental well-being as well, to see their family, to have a taste of the home life as well, so that they can commit and give every single day to Liverpool, because it is an absolute all-out gung-ho burst in training, day in, day out, competing against, your fellow teammates in the team. But it's no place like home, right? You need that break. You need that mental relief knowing that the break is coming. And I know the flip side of the coin is they might get injured, but there is insurance in place, right? I think if they're injured for over 28 days, the insurance from the international teams pay for the players' wages. So there's that as well. But I know injuries on international duty are an absolute nightmare. Look at Martin Odegaard, for example. Wouldn't want to be in their shoes. Liverpool with Chiesa, he can recover. Alisson Becker can recover as well, and it gives the opportunity for some of these players to show their leadership qualities to bring back to Liverpool. Wataru Endo, captain of Japan; Andy Robertson, captain of Scotland; Virgil van Dijk, captain of the Netherlands. I think Lucho Diaz is either vice captain or in the leadership group for Colombia as well. Dominic Szoboszlai, captain of Hungary, the superstar. So once again, I think it's a necessary evil. It's probably a net positive that players like Darwin Nunez can get some minutes into his legs, fire his way back into form with the national team under Bielsa, and especially players like Lucho Diaz, can get that home camaraderie and feeling as well. Salah is super popular in Egypt, and he did the right thing by not playing the Olympics. And one day, Ronald Koeman will bow down and beg for forgiveness from Ryan Giro Gravenberch. That's special gravy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. My birthday tomorrow, just a nice short one, digging the new RPG studio. Let me know how this Shure mic sounds in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the international fixtures and also of the penalties that Manchester City might receive and the Lassana Diarra case as well. Until next time, Miyazaki man, Ichiban! Thank you so much, all the members. You keep this channel thriving. The best international community by far, the Liverpool fan in Japan. Miyazaki-gan, the army is growing. We're like family here. I love you guys sincerely. Susan, thank you so much. The latest member as well. Hope you enjoyed those exclusive videos. More exclusive videos coming very, very soon. Until next time, Miyazaki man, Ichiban, it means the best. Jane means peace. Ciao.
Liverpool fan in Japan.